which comes to this nation, and you are a solution for the nation Zambia. We thank you, Almighty Father, that you have appointed your servants in government for this time to lead the nation. You are giving them wisdom, understanding, knowledge, how to lead the nation Zambia. They are more than capable to do the work you have given to them because you are with them. We come against, Almighty Father, the spirit of violence in our nation, killing, shedding innocent blood. Father, forgive us our sins as a nation, and we pray, Sovereign God, dear Master, that remove the spirit of killing in our country and comfort the bereaved families in our nation. In the name of Jesus, Father, I surrender this press conference in your hands. May you grace it, and may you, Almighty Father, give more wisdom to your servant. And let the Zambians, Almighty Father, carry every word your servant are going to speak to their hearts, to the glory of your holy name. And to you, Almighty Father, we give thanks today and forever. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
We may be seated. Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, Mrs. W.K. Mikale Manumango, Vice President of the Republic of Zambia, Honorable Ministers present, Mr. Patrick Kangwa, Acting Secretary to the Cabinet, Dr. Oliver Kalamo, Deputy Secretary to the Cabinet, senior government officials present, colleagues from within State House present, colleagues from the media fraternity invited and present, all other invited guests present, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, I would like to welcome you all to the President's press conference for Q1. Now, I say Q1 or quarter one because we envision that the President should and will engage the members of the public through you colleagues in the media on a quarterly basis. Thank you for coming. And perhaps to echo the words of the President himself, welcome to your State House, words which I believe you're going to be hearing quite repeatedly, because this is your State House, whereas we are merely servants whom you have entrusted with the responsibility and duty to manage the affairs of this great country on your behalf. Thus, this press conference, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, all invited guests, is part of our standard commitment for the President to stay and remain engaged with the people who elected us into office and further enhance transparency and accountability in the way we, your servants, deliver on the leadership mandate you have given us. And before I invite the President to speak, perhaps just a few housekeeping rules. Number one, please, let us keep all our mobile phones either on silent or completely switched off to avoid distractions of any sort. The COVID-19 pandemic is very much still alive and amongst us. Let us all remain masked up as much as possible and maintain social distancing. And once the President has concluded his remarks, let me indicate that we shall take a few questions, whereas further guidance in that order shall follow through before we commence our question and answer session. At this point in time, I have the privilege of inviting Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, to deliver his press conference. Mr. President, sir.
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies. First, I want to recognize the colleagues that are here, the Vice President of our country, Republic of Zambia, ministers that are here. I've seen a couple of ministers, or a few of them, so to say. Also, Cabinet, Secretary of Cabinet, acting on the team from Cabinet Office, Cabinet Secretaries that are here, may be here, and indeed other senior colleagues in government. But more importantly, the press that are here in quite some number today. A very impressive number. Thank you for being here. And ladies and gentlemen, as Mr. Gwalia has said, our intention is to have quarterly engagements with the people of Zambia, minimum quarterly engagements. And we're in month 8 now. We had a press briefing earlier in the year, and later in the year, I must say previous year, this quarter ending March, thereabout, April, we are having this press conference. So let me start today's press briefing by acknowledging and thanking the people of Zambia for mourning the late President Rupia Banda together. For mourning the late President Rupia Banda together in peace and dignity. We did request you that we ought to mourn at the time he left us, President Banda, in an orderly manner. And I think we were able to do just that. So thank you to all of you who contributed to that dignified send-off to President Banda. With the independence generation, our generation gradually passing on, we must continue to cherish, to thank them for their contribution to our country's struggles, which obviously includes the independence struggle, liberation struggle, and for leading our country in those early years, very difficult years, but they were able to carry us through. So please, let's continue respecting them, those who are still alive, and learning from them, especially learning the art of unifying the country. It's very important that we keep our country unified. Otherwise, in disunity, in exclusions instead of inclusions, in marginalization instead of basically equitous treatment of all citizens, the developmental agenda becomes a difficult task to implement. So we want to encourage ourselves to be part of those values, and so we can pass them to the generations after us. Through working hard in peace and love and unity, we obviously need to continue focusing on rebuilding our country, especially the economic side of our country, is fortunes, which will indeed support the social side. And we must get the equation right. We cannot have social support without the economic success. And that equation needs to be respected by all of us. In as much as we love each other, we support each other. If we do not succeed economically, we cannot support each other socially. We cannot look after the sick, the weak, the children, the differently abled in society. This is a song you will hear more and more from us, but we want you to see more actions as we implement those measures that will drive us towards economic recovery. When we came to office, ladies and gentlemen, we committed to implementing a culture of transparency and servant leadership. We made it clear this is how we are going to run the country. We even stated before we formed government that this is the way we are going to run this country. We never forget that we are first and foremost public servants. We are first and foremost public servants, and that we must at all times serve the public, the people of Zambia. Remember that. We do remember that, and I want to remind my colleagues in government, from the Vice President here, to the ministers, to those in cabinet, to those who are PSCs, to those who are fortunate to have been appointed in commissions, and indeed anyone working for the public sector, central government, local government, quasi-government, including parastatals, because sometimes parastatals believe that they are not public servants. Actually, they are public servants. So all of us are there to serve the people. We're conscious of that, and we like the public to understand that we are servants to them, and we must interact with each other in a manner that will enable both of us, first on our part, to perform our duties, on the part of citizens, to receive the services that they expect from us. I think that should not be misunderstood in any way. So it means those of us in public office must remind ourselves every day why we are going to office, why we come to this your state house every morning, why we go to our ministerial offices. We must be aware that is to serve the people. So I want the people of Zambia to feel comfortable about that realization. And we've seen something different. We've seen a lot of something different in the past. But you can be rest assured, this team, this president will continue reminding ourselves that we are who we are. We never forget that, and we'll never forget that. This means keeping you, our masters, informed, like we are doing today, and in many other platforms, in many other ways, about the progress that we're making, but also about the challenges that we may be faced with as we serve you, the people of Zambia. We open ourselves to scrutiny, because that's important, from the media and from other citizens, as long as we are scrutinizing each other based on facts, and not social media talk, and not innuendos. Because if we make decisions based on falsehoods, we will not achieve the objective that we set ourselves to achieve. And I think that goes without saying. It's an old adage. Those who tell lies have destroyed societies, time immemorial. And it hasn't changed even now. So press conferences are an important part of this commitment, but there are other ways that we should be engaging with the people of Zambia on an ongoing basis. We are here to answer to you openly and honestly. Openly and honestly. If we face a challenge, we'll let you know. And we'll ask for your support, your suggestions, how to deal with those challenges. If we don't let you know, ask us. That's the way it should be. We are aware that there's been much discussion about the ongoing fight against corruption. And that's the way it should be. Over the past few months, we have made significant progress in our fight against corruption, with a number of cases opened, with assets reclaimed. Some are in the process. They've been seized. And I think it's important that going forward from today, that the institutions that are responsible for the fight against corruption provide regular reports to the people of Zambia on the range of assets, the range of cases that they're handling, the cases that are in court already. And I'm sure the reason citizens believe that there's not much happening is because there's a different style, and I'll talk about it. There's a different approach, and that's to do with respecting the rule of law. While we fight corruption, we must respect the rule of law. 9 months ago, there was no rule of law around here. And Zambians got used to seeing aggressive arrests as a semblance of order. No. That was disorder. That was abusing citizens. We can and we will fight corruption within the rule of law. It's one side. We did what was being done to us. Maybe that's what Zambians are missing. We will be no different from those that did run this country without respecting the rule of law. We've got to get used to orderliness as citizens. We got used to disorder. We have to get used to orderliness. In my time, I got arrested, never enjoyed something called bond, although it was within the law. Today, an opposition leader is called the police at 14 hours. They are charged, arrested at 15 hours. They are given bond at 1630. To many citizens, there's no fight against corruption. No. There's a fight against corruption, but we are doing it within the rule of law. We better get used to that. I want to emphasize that from the beginning. I want to say that the students that we have sent to university and other colleges, additional 2,000 students who have received scholarships, bursaries at the University of Zambia and elsewhere, we were able to do that because we applied some of the recovered resources to this best investment, education. Many may have not paid attention to that, but this is the way we thought would be better use of recovered resources, amongst others. We understand, we hear your frustrations, those who feel that things are not happening fast enough. We understand you. And this is something we are addressing, including what I've said already. We are deeply committed to the two goals, I shall repeat, to the fight against corruption. A, fighting corruption. B, deepening the rule of law. I'm repeating this. Fight corruption, yet deepening the rule of law. These two are not contradictory. These two are a package that was not there 9 months ago. This is the package that is there now. And I think as citizens, if we don't appreciate this now, we'll appreciate it in a few years from now. I'm dead sure about that. As you get used to normalcy in society, as you get used to your freedoms, as you get used to the freedoms for others, even those who took away our freedoms, today we want them to have freedom. But that must not be misunderstood, that we will not fight corruption. Absolutely not. We got used to blood, seeing blood in the markets. We consider that normal. We got used to seeing HH having no access to public places. We got used to seeing HH denied the use of an airport. We got used to seeing HH denied use of the airspace. We got used to that. I am saying that was a wrong getting used to something. We better get used to seeing freedoms enjoyed by our people, including those who took away our freedoms, who are enjoying the freedoms now. I think we should receive credit rather than frustration. But we understand your frustration because human beings get used to certain things easily. We are asking you to get used to order. Now, let me ask fellow citizens, if we continue, which is what one country, neighboring country is doing, just to arrest people we suspect that they've stolen something, they stole something. A neighboring country, we sent a team to establish how is it that they've forced recoveries quickly. They briefed our team that we had struggled to recover because people were not cooperating. Thieves are difficult. And I agreed with that view, that thieves are difficult. That's why they steal from people. That's why they commit crimes. So we said, how did you do it? They said, we went to Parliament and changed the law. And any suspect, reasonable suspect, we believe stole something from the people, we locked them up. And locked them up for 90 days. And left them in prisons for 90 days. And we told them, when you are willing to talk, to bring the assets, we are here outside. Tell the prison warders that you are ready to talk, and we will talk to you. And since then, that country has recovered about $13 billion of public money. Is that the route we want to go? We should debate that. To accelerate, to arrest any suspect without due process of the law, lock them up for maybe 6 months. And they will talk. We know that they will talk. If we're to do that, we have to go to Parliament and change those laws. It is you, the citizens, that must make those decisions. But we'll probably be faced with a new problem where we'll be trampling on the human rights of citizens. So our job is to find a middle ground, to fight corruption, to recover assets, which we need most, citizens need most, but still respect human rights. That's a core. That's a core which I believe will be respected in a couple of years from now. Should we take people to prison without trial? Should we? Should we get another team like HH locked up for 127 days without being taken to court, when the law says anyone arrested for suspicion of crime must be taken to court within 48 hours? Should we amend that law and take it to 6 months? The choice is ours. So for now, this leadership will take those arrested to court within 48 hours. And if their matter is bondable, they should get bond. Including Given Lubile, who got bond, but he never gave me bond when he was justice minister. But we're allowing the law for him to get bond. He should say thank you to us. That we're respecting the rule of law. Should we arrest people based on social media stories? That's the question. That's the frustration citizens say this country, this government is not fighting corruption because a social media story is run. And immediately this government must arrest those who are mentioned, who are named in the social media story. Pick them up. Throw them in for 127 days. It will be you, the same citizens, who will complain. Because even you will be named very soon by somebody who doesn't like you and post something on social media that you stole something, and we will arrest you. And you'll be in for 127 days. Some of you have no spine. You will break down after 10 days. You must say thank you to this government. This government had the right to be vindictive. This president could have been all out arresting people because I was the most discriminated citizen in this country in the last 10 years. The most detained, the most abused. I slept on the floor for 127 days without a blanket. I was put in a cell with fecal matter on the floor and all the walls. In the line, no toilet, no ventilation, no lighting for 8 days. Now that you have elected us to save you in the presidency, if I had no different spine, I could have rounded up all of those people, illegal of course, threw them in prison. If I did that, I am no different from those who threw me into prison. I want to argue today that I'm different from those people. I occupy a higher moral ground than those people. But Zambians will say, no, lock them up the way they locked you up. No, I'm saying no. The law must apply. We shouldn't arrest people based on social media stories. We should investigate. We shouldn't arrest people based on falsehoods. We shouldn't. That's an era of the past. Social media is good, but it's also being abused. Should we believe what Nakachinda said, that HH called judges at his house and told them to do or to manage a matter, a certain matter in a certain way? Should we believe and run that on social media that HH is abusing judges? I never called any judges to my house. That was a lie. So why should we then promote lies in our country? I never called any judges to my house. Never. But Nakachinda said he had evidence, he had seen in his binoculars that I had called judges. Under the rule of law, Nakachinda must pay the price because he lied to the nation, isn't it? When Nakachinda is arrested, some of you will say, no, HH is abusing his presidential powers. No, it's the laws. The laws apply for the abused. The laws apply to the abuser. What do I mean? You are arrested for criminality. The crime will be charged, will be given to you. If your matter is bearable, you should get bail. But you should have been charged. You were charged. That's the point I'm making. But the message I'm giving to the people of Zambia, let us not feed on falsehoods, because we'll lose what we intend to do for this country. When he got arrested for lying that, or contempt of court, he went and said, no, that was a political statement. What is the meaning of that? What does that mean? You can go out and lie and injure citizens, then he said, no, that was a political statement. 2 days ago, he said, and I hardly refer to individual names myself. You have seen I don't respond to criticism. That's who I am. I don't. Publicly. I will respond by acting on the criticism, by correcting what people are saying, if what they're saying is true. 2 days ago, he says, 3 days ago, how foolish can the people of Wengo bring their foolishness to State House? How foolish can Tongas and Zambians allow a Tonga to bring the Tonga stupidity to State House? Now, this country is not about Tongas, it's not about members, it's not about Nyanjas, Ngonis, Chevas, it's not about Rosines, Mubale. It's about the citizens of Zambia. That's what it is about. I'm Zambian first. Zambian born where? In Monze. Did I choose? No. Ask my mother. You saw her on a few days ago. Ask her. Why did she give birth to this child in Monze? Ask her, not me. But this is what we're beginning to make our country to be. To focus on pettiness. And you raise it and give it momentum on social media. This is not what this government wants to do. This government should take care of all citizens of this country, irrespective of where they were born, how they twist their tongues in terms of language. That's a gift from God. We should cherish it. Then I saw somebody posting and saying, mind you, I read what you post. I want the nation to know that I read what is being posted. And someone posted and said, yeah, we should never elect another Tonga, based on Nakachinda's statement. Doesn't the law provide against discrimination on ethnic grounds? It does. Another opposition leader a few days ago was addressing a small rally somewhere. and said HH doesn't greet Zambians. He wears a mask when he faces Zambians and gloves. But when he sees white people, he removes his gloves and removes his face mask. Face mask. Face mask is a health issue. Now, is that the checks and balances we're talking about? Talking about racism? Is that the country you want to build? Absolutely not. So my advice to citizens, don't drag your time, expensive time, valuable time, to petting the affairs of the country. Our approach to the fight against corruption is that there is no compromise on the fight against corruption. No compromise. Past, present, future corruption. No one should stand in the way of the fight against corruption. No one. No insinuation that there's an ethnic issue in the fight against corruption will sway this country. No minister, vice president, president, cabinet office should stand in the way of the fight against corruption. We are aware that the stock of many people in public office interacted with corruption firsthand. We are aware of it as they conducted their office duties. Some were used in the corruption process. My advice to you is that we've kept you in office because you are a citizen, because we want equity and fairness. But we're not oblivious to the fact that you may have been involved in corruption. And your best conduct is to walk away from protecting corruption. If you don't walk away, you will exit anyway. And when you exit, don't complain. No one in State House will protect the corrupt, the clique of the corrupt, who believe now there's a new lease of life because we are following the rule of law, because we are giving the police bond. The system is giving a police bond. That's a mistaken understanding. No one should stand in the way of corruption. I mean Auditor General. I mean Anti-Corruption Commission. I mean Drug Enforcement Commission. I mean DPP. I mean that. I mean that. We mean that. No one should protect the corrupt. You do that, you're on your own. It's a futile exercise to do that. You do that, you're on your own. You're a cabinet office, you're shielding the corrupt, you're on your own. You're at this ACC, you're shielding corruption. When we pick it up, you're on your own. You're in State House, you're on your own. You're a minister, you're shielding people you know were corrupt. You are asked to swap people around. You don't want to swap people, you're on your own. You are DPP, you're on your own. No one is above the law. No one is above the law. Nobody. I guess that point is clear. Any insinuation that disrespect for the rule of law and due process is not a sign or is a sign of inability to act, you got it wrong. Fundamentally wrong. You got it wrong. It is clear that the clique of thieves are using people in public office to do all sorts of schemes. To do all sorts of schemes. I think respecting the rule of law is a strength, it's not a weakness. And will be proven right very soon as we normalize this society, as citizens begin to enjoy their rights. But where your rights end, someone else's rights start. By respecting the rule of law, we are confident with what we're doing. We are confident with the processes. Yes, we should pick up speed. We are confident in our approach. We do not wish to return to the dark days of 9 months ago. No. If you have stolen, you have abused your office, the law will visit you. Maybe slow, but surely it will visit you. Justice will be done. There's no sacred cow at all. You must be asking yourself the question, what are the changes to reinforce the fight against corruption we make? One, we have a new leadership at the drug enforcement. We took out the leadership that was there because we saw some weaknesses. There's a new leadership there. There's a new leadership at the Anti-Corruption Commission. There's a new leader of the judiciary. There's a new Chief Justice there, in case you haven't paid attention to that. There will be new leadership elsewhere. Wherever it's necessary, there will be a new leadership there to enhance the fight against corruption. What else? The fast-track court is in place now. Have you heard that? In case you're not aware, the fast-track court is in place now. I'm sure you followed somebody who was taken to the fast-track court. They now knew that their case would be determined expeditiously. What did they do? They went to another court to appeal, to petition that their matter must not be taken to the fast-track court. If you are innocent, why don't you want to be held quickly so that the matter is closed and you are found innocent? Why would you then abuse the judicial process to go to a court to stop the institutions of governance for your matter to be heard in the fast-track court? Ask yourself that question. Why would anyone be scared of going to the fast-track court? Just ask yourself that question. For me, I was accused of many things, and I used to challenge my accuser. Take me to court yesterday, and I'll be found innocent. I won't say much, because that matter is in a court of law somewhere, so that that individual accused of corruption does not go through the fast-track court. The fast-track court was brought about to cut the speed, the time it takes to hear citizens, so that the innocent can be found innocent and the guilt can be found guilty. These are innovative things we've done as a new government. Absolutely. If you are a nephew to those individuals, that clique of thieves, encourage them to accept to go to the fast-track court. Encourage them not to use civil servants to give them illegal immunities. No one, and I want to say it here, no one has the legal mandate to give immunity to anyone. No one. In case you haven't heard me, I can't do that. No one at State House can do that. No one at ACC can do that. No one at the DPP can give immunity to anyone. That's illegal. There's no law that allows that to happen. So if you're a clique of thieves and you think you will escape by abusing office bearers or institutions, you've got it wrong. If you are a brother to HH and you stole from the people of that, HH will not help you. Even though he's a servant as president, I'll not help you. So don't even try. don't even try. So why are we debating a non-issue? That's the question. Why are we throwing so much energy on a non-issue? Because this is a non-issue. No presidential assistant can give immunity to anything. No Minister of Justice, no Attorney General, no Solicitor General, no DPP. Anything done along those lines is a nullity. So why are we giving legs to an issue that is not an issue? I never met anybody in this state house in the name of Miringo to discuss a need. And these reports were reaching me. I'm trying to check on my cattle. I haven't seen my cattle for years. I know in a derogatory manner, some were called Chilango, abused citizens and said, how can you vote for a cow? And put them in setters. Now, is that how we should treat each other? Today, HH is a cow. What's the meaning of that? Yes, so I was checking on the cows. But I'm not a cow. I'm a fellow citizen. It's reducing the country to chicken feed. We have to deal with this immunity issue. There's no immunity for anyone. And the social media ran it. One of the colleagues sent me a message that they said, you get immunity to Melega. I said, no. I have no capacity to do that. But the nation fed on this thing and it became the most important thing instead of fighting to create more jobs for the people of Zambia. We ask citizens be part of this agenda because you need to be. You elected this government to deliver change. That's what constitutes change, a different approach to handling things. Don't demonize the very thing you voted for because you didn't want to be beaten in the markets. You didn't want to be beaten at the bus stops. Today, if you're UPND, you are PF, you're beating someone in the market, you'll be arrested. You'll be arrested. You see anybody beating people in the market, report. If the police don't act, they will be made to act. That's what you voted for. We've asked the Anti-Corruption Commission and other institutions that are fighting corruption, working with the Ministry of Information and the Media, to provide more toll-free hotlines for the public to report corruption, any form of corruption. You abduct and a citizen working at a cell phone company. You know somebody. Let's report on those hotlines. And the hotlines must work. You know somebody stealing something. Report. And the system must protect those who report. Whistleblowers. We must strengthen protection of whistleblowers. But the point I'm making is that all institutions fighting corruption, working with Ministry of Information and Media, must provide toll-free hotlines, not one, not two, more. That's not one of the hotlines. If you are asked for a bribe, I'm asking citizens now, through the media. If you are asked for a bribe by any government officer, by anybody, report that individual. Be factual. Don't send on social media and expect the president to act or the oversight institution. Be factual. Report anyone asking you for a bribe. You want to get a license? You want to get your title deed? An officer at lands asks you for a bribe, report that officer by name. I encourage you to record it. If you witness corruption, report it. If you are the victim of corruption, report it. Let's defeat this together within the rule of law. Short of that, becomes a dictatorship. Short of that, we have to go to parliament to change the law to lock up suspects for 6 months. They don't do it. So we've changed the law together. For now, let's use the existing law. I touched on the allegations about a deal that has received so much traction that Milingolungu was given a deal. I've touched on it. There's no deal. Anyone who's purported to have given a deal has no capacity to offer a deal. Yes, we want Milingo out of KCM. In the first place, we never wanted him there. It was wrong to appoint a liquidator into KCM. Read our articles when we were in opposition. It was wrong. That company needed a commercial solution. It didn't need a liquidator. By putting a liquidator, it took a different turn. Check, you are the media. Check what we said in opposition. Because criminality was occasionally there. We want a solution to KCM so that they can contribute to the 3 million tons of copper production, which we targeted to trigger the economic turnaround. We want Mopani to return to full production. And we're looking for commercial solutions there. Increase production, earn more revenue, employ more people. That's the agenda. The license under KCM is a license to mine Zambian minerals. With the electric car industry coming, these are some of the assets that we want to ramp up production and take advantage of the new opportunity arising from electric vehicles. And we're not going to allow KCM to sit in limbo. We're responsible governments. And if someone is sitting on the web, in the web, they must step aside. Why should we offer an immunity to somebody? For what? I hope this thing closes this debate. I go to bed late myself. 2 days ago, I had to send a response to someone to say, there's no immunity. Then he responds about 01 in the morning. He says, Mr. President, you've made my day. How could I make his day from falsehoods? Honestly speaking. So please take it from me as your servant. There's nothing like that. If anyone offered me with immunity, it's illegal. But if anyone did that, they're on their own. Did you hear me? They're on their own. Because it's a non-issue. We believe our courts are competent to determine whether somebody is abusing the court process or not. We believe our courts are competent and they will discharge their duties to the nation. Let me say this, 3 arms of government: executive, legislature, parliament, judiciary, all of us work for the people of Zambia. None of these three arms of government work for themselves. None of us are above the law. None of us. We work for the people. I was questioned when I was away a few days. I took 4 days off from your house. Just 4 days. Because the other days were Easter holidays. Just 4 days. While I was away, there was an issue on the Minister of Foreign Affairs. That the Minister of Foreign Affairs got a bribe from Sinoma Cement. I was away. I called the Minister of Foreign Affairs, sorry. I got in touch with him. What is this thing I've heard? The first thing I did was not to read what was on social media and continue reading, was to then get in touch with the minister himself. Minister, have you seen what's being said? He said, yes. What were you doing there? I asked him that question. What were you doing there? He explained to me, private visit, he's building in that area. He wanted concrete mix, pre-mix. I said, continue. Continue. He explained. He said he got an envelope with a calendar and diary inside. Maybe he shouldn't have done it. It's him talking to me. I said, what were you carrying in that envelope? Because it's my duty. I'm the supervisor. I'm the supervisor to the vice president. In case you're not aware. That's the law. I'm the supervisor to the ministers. I'm the direct supervisor. I had to ask. And I asked on behalf of the people of Zambia. On behalf of the people of Zambia. And he gave me the answer. And he said, perhaps, Mr. President, I should have not taken the calendar at the time. I didn't get paid anything. What else am I supposed to do? I must fire him? No. If anyone knows an answer better than he gave me, follow the law. Let's take the process. But on your behalf, I took the opportunity to ask him. Because we're clear, none of us should take any bribe for anything. None of us. It's very clear. But that includes none of you are citizens as well. But we're in public office, the scrutiny is higher on us, agreed, and rightly so. If anyone has more information, let us know. Because we're accountable to you. But you say you got money, bring that hotline or tip someone. You think someone in the State House got money? Tip somebody. You think a minister, another minister got money? Vice President, the President, tip somebody. We're together on this one. We'll always be together on this one. And other ills that destroy society. Social political issues. Just to remind the citizens of Zambia, we have restored the freedom of speech. We have restored the freedom of association and other civil liberties. We're restoring the rule of law. You can't revive the economy. Remember the equation I said, revive the economy, then we can have social benefits. You can't revive the economy without the rule of law, without freedoms. We've restored this. We've put an end to the era of cadre impunity. Even when UPND cadres think that they're ill-treated because they wanted to revenge and avenge, just think for a moment. If this president had allowed or had not stopped UPND cadres after the 16th of August, when the declaration was made that we won. Those who used to beat them in the markets, Kurimatao, Intercity. Just imagine if this servant of yours, President, had said, you can revenge. Just think for a moment. What do you think this country would have been? A bloodbath. Chaotic situation. Death. Who would have been carrying that blood? It's me. Never allow that to happen. We will never allow that to happen. But the very people who were beating UPND members and tear gassing them and doing all sorts of things are the ones who think they are clever now. You must praise God that a decent president took office. What you did to the MMD in 2011, if we were to do to you in 2021, after 16th of August, a lot of you would have been killed. I would have never allowed that to happen because we're made different from you. Don't take that to mean something else. UPND members, I say to you, I will not allow you to be the new thugs in town, to be the new thugs in the markets. No. Trade in the markets. You're free to do that. Your citizens trade alongside a woman, a widow. That's what we want to see in our society. But to brutalize anybody? No. Why? Because we want freedoms to prevail. I know there's pressure. I'm aware. But I'm sitting on the lead. And I'm not allowing the lead to open. Because if it opens, I'll be responsible for providing no leadership. We are providing leadership. In as much as you are complaining, in as much as you want to revenge, no. But you who were beating people, don't celebrate. You must pray harder. That is decency in leadership today. Don't provoke people. What the order you see today in this country is not by chance. It's orchestrated. Throw your memory lane. Throw your memory lane. Take your memory to Chipata during the campaign, Chipata Airport. Take your memory there. Take your memory to a place called Maondo in Sesheke during the by-election. Take your memory lane there. Take it there. We were hunted like thugs. The thugs who hunted us, we know them. But we're saying to them, behave yourself. Behave yourself. Take your memory lane to the funeral of KK. Take your memory lane there. I was not even allowed to go and pay my last respects to KK's family, to him. When we lost Arabi, the very people who did not allow me to go and pay respect, my last respect to KK, I invited them. We invited them. We sat next to each other. The next thing, they started talking stuff. I didn't say anything. I just kept quiet. I said, look, people, see the behavior of people. See the nastiness. Take your memory like that. What you see today, the order you see today, even the noise you hear from the same abusive thugs is by design, by your leadership to normalize society. It's not by chance. Let's protect this peace. Let's cherish it. Our economy. This administration came to office on a clear vision to restore our economy so we can have social growth. But what we found was an economy in a much worse shape than anyone had anticipated, even as what was reported. Our debt was significantly higher, and our coffers were empty, truly. That's why we defaulted on debt, because the coffers were empty. That's why retirees were not paid, because the coffers were empty. That is why council workers were not paid their salaries sometimes for 15 months, because the coffers were dry. The ship called Zambia was not just a ship going in the wrong direction. It is a ship that needed to be turned around dramatically. It was rapidly sinking. It was leaking, not in one place, but in multiple places. This is a ship we inherited. I know someone wants to say, don't talk of the past. How? You need to understand where you were in order to know where to take the country. You need to do that. This country was leaking from multiple places. This country was being ransacked by those that were put in office to protect the public. And so our first focus, attention, has been to plug the holes and stop the leaking. And we're getting there. That's why we've not defaulted on debt. Which default we inherited? It's because we've taken certain measures. That's why council workers are being paid on time, because we're sealing the leakages. That is why retirees, a good number of them, have been paid. Ladies and gentlemen, Vice President, Minister, Cabinet Officer, that is why we have paid retirees. Because we're leaking the leakage, we're sealing the leakages. To fully account for what we owe, to cut wasteful expenditure, and to rebuild trust with our development partners was a big priority to us. Creditors, so as to begin to resolve the budget challenge. Someone asked me a question, Vice President, said, why is the UPND government not paying certain contractors? This is stifling the economy. I said, oh, give me an example of contractors that are not being paid. And they gave me an example. Road contractors, feeder roads, who gave themselves contracts illegally, corruptly, in 2020, 2021, to the tune of 13 billion kwacha. That's the money they were flashing around during elections. Given contract to do roads, they don't even have a hoe or a shovel. But they siphoned money through contracts. Someone signed the contract. He or she who should have protected citizens facilitated the corruption. And bills were rendered, 20% down payment for a contract of 400 million. Calculate. 10% of 400 million is 40 million kwacha. 20% is 80 million kwacha. They got paid 80 million kwacha. But they did not do any road. Then they billed for another portion of the contract. We found those bills and we said we are not paying these bills. And someone says to me, you're not paying local contractors. You are killing the economy. Economy cannot pay for theft. They've even written to us that, why are you not paying these contractors? We have said to them, an audit is taking place. Come and tell us why you want to be paid when you did not build any road. They haven't come. But the pressure on social media, pay the local contractors so you can revive the economy. And someone says, this is what the development economics said. I said I did more than development economics. You can't pay for a service you did not receive. That's not how you grow the economy. That's how you destroy the economy. We are plugging those holes. We're plugging those holes. And rightly so. We've even cancelled some contracts worth billions of dollars. We are proud that we've cancelled contracts that were illegally issued, contracts that were overpriced. You know one of the contracts I love talking about. You know it. We've cancelled that contract with pride, with our heads high, to protect the public from wasteful expenditure. And citizens are complaining. Then you are part of corruption. What is it? Last year, we reached the staff level agreement with the IMF program on the debt restructuring. You can't build the economy with a huge debt mountain. You can't. We said so during our campaigns. You can't. And we undertook to dismantle this debt, to create room to release resources towards debt service into the economy, to create jobs, to grow the economy. That's how it works. That's how it works. In a few months, we were able to reach that position. And we said by the middle of the year, 2022, we should be talking about this debt restructuring under a common framework. And our detractors were making a lot of noise. No, you've ignored China. You're ill-treating China. We were working. We don't make as much noise as you do. We're working. And a few days ago, I'm proud to announce to the nation something you know already, maybe to repeat it, that we engaged China, we engaged other creditors to negotiate a debt resolution package, even partial. And today, a few days ago, to show to those who are making noise that we've ignored China, we engaged China, myself as president. It's my job. The job you gave me. Minister of Finance team together. Foreign Affairs. We want to thank China. Thank you to China for joining the common framework, agreeing to join the common framework to resolve the debt crisis. We've done it. Against all odds, credibility, seriousness. This couldn't be done for 10 years. We've done it in 8 months. You don't have to like us, but you have to respect what we're doing. 8 months, now we are on course to restructure the debt. And all the components I will not waste time on. The value of that is to release revenues onto the economic side, economic expansion, more resources available to the private sector instead of that much to service debt. Now, after restructuring, it will be that much. The difference should go into the economy to create jobs, business opportunities. Thank you to China. Thank you to other creditors. Minister of Finance, I think he's not here today. He's out there. Governor of the Central Bank is out there. ST is out there. And I'm in touch with them almost every day. We've sent, as Zambians, we've sent them to do work for us to restructure this debt. And somebody is saying they will return. What are you going to return to government to do? If I may be a bit cheap. You created this debt mountain. You ran the economy down, which was growing at 6-7%. You ran it down to 5, to 4, to 3, to 0, to minus. Today you want to be smart and say the new Dawn government has failed. The new Dawn government is resolving the mess you left behind, the mess you created. you should say thank you to us. That's what's happening. Zambians must learn and be proud that they put a government that is able to tackle serious challenges that were created by a reckless team of people. And we ask for your support to conclude this debt restructuring. Phase 2. Phase 1, staff level. Phase 2, it's a full program. By June, God willing, all work being done, we should be talking specific numbers. June is just a month away. And that's what we said we'll do. It's not easy to do what we are doing, but we are there. We are prepared to burn the midnight candle for the people of Zambia, those who put us in office. That's what matters to us. In recent months, inflation is coming down. It's coming down. 24% down to 13%. It's not by chance. It's by the instrument, the mechanism we put in place to release resources into the economy. The kwacha is stabilizing. It's not by chance, my dear citizens. It's work behind that. That's what you see from the surface. But behind that is a lot of work. But we're there to do it for you. You put us there to do the work for you. We are well aware that once we open the economy in the real sense, the jobs will come. Business opportunities will come for Zambian businesses. Yes, government has created 40,000 jobs plus. Teachers, medical staff. That's not enough. I'm the first one to admit that that's not good enough. A lot more jobs should come from the private sector. That's why we are dismantling the debt. That's why we are unlocking and stabilizing factors that create it difficult, make it difficult to do business. The engine of economic growth is the private sector. I want to repeat the announcement I made a few days ago. That after working hard, looking at how we can unlock the private sector development, shortly we will be launching what we call the Public-Private Dialogue Forum for Development as a way of working. You heard me. Public-Private Dialogue Forum for Development. What is this? The government and the private sector will be working as one in unlocking all those issues that are standing in the way of business. Zambian businesses, other businesses growing. Streams of work, agriculture, energy, all of those as examples. We'll be working as a daily routine with the businesses in those sectors. Let me give you an example. Today, it takes 6 months or more to get water rights for a farmer to irrigate a wheat field. If that farmer is on the Kafue River, the delays in issuing licenses, by the time the license is issued, the water will have no longer been here. It will have been in the Indian Ocean. It's gone. We want to unlock those issues so that the water license for irrigation can be given on time. So we'll sit with the irrigation farmers, with the Ministry of Water, the Ministry of Agriculture, and agree that licenses must be given within the shortest possible time. so that we don't lose water into the Indian Ocean and become salt water. Just one example. We will also bring wet streams such as unlocking KCM, unlocking Mopani, because they're key. Every day, working together. I heard someone saying HSC and the government are ignoring local business. We're local people ourselves. Local businesses come first, but they've suffered over years. We work together to unlock those opportunities. Do you have any suggestions? Give us those suggestions. This program is well thought through. It's not an abracadabra program, no. Study work, checking, benchmarking. This tool has been applied to turn around Singapore. They apply this tool, this toolkit. Malaysia, Vietnam, out of war, is emerging as an economy. It's this toolkit, basic approach. Next door, near next door, Rwanda. They're using this toolkit. This government is going to use this toolkit to unlock the economy, to unlock jobs. Let's work together in this area. In our first budget, we passed the seeds of development. Very important landmark. We realized that many children were not in school because parents had no money or they were orphans. Against all odds, against all the criticism, we have offered free education. And I was checking it in my village school. It's working. It's working. It's working. It's deliberate. It's not by chance. CDF is deliberate. It's not by chance. 1,000 plus increments in CDF. There are teething issues. Registration of cooperatives. Minister of Energy, Minister of Youth, Minister SME, Minister Local Government must unlock these rigidities in the next 10 days so that our young people can access certificates and get on with the CDF. Never done before since independence. Decentralization. It's not by chance. It's deliberate. The cost of living, we are aware. We are consciously aware and we share with the people of Zambia the cost of living issues. Our hearts are there with you. But to have a long-lasting solution to the cost of living is to deal with the debt, is to deal with issues of fuel. Let me confront this issue. Issues of fuel cost, issues of fertilizer costs. The conventional open market, the war in Ukraine is exacerbating these cost drivers. Fuel, fertilizer. We are not just sitting. We know the implication of this on the welfare of the people of Zambia. But we are combining short-term solutions, medium and long-term solutions. We are aware of it. We sympathize with you. You are us. Us are you. We're one family. We cannot be oblivious to this pain. But part of our measures, mark my word, part of our measures, we are in conversation with bilateral colleagues, countries, oil producing countries, fertilizer producing countries, working to negotiate bilateral arrangements that, if we succeed, will alleviate the pressures arising from fuel and fertilizer on the cost of living. We are together. We are conscious. It is important that we deal with these two issues. I'm listening to Zambians on this matter. Yesterday I was listening when I came in to a gentleman, an energy expert called Mr. Squander. I think some of you have heard him speak on energy. I think he's a good Zambian, Mr. Chikwanda. I've asked my team that they arrange a meeting for me with Mr. Chikwanda so we can compare notes. Because we want to draw on the pool of all Zambians that have a view and a possible solution on the cost of fuel, cost of fertilizer. If you know someone else, let us talk. But what is important, as us farmers know, and I'm encouraging those calling us cows to continue. As us farmers know, planting the seed is just the first step. It takes time for the crop to grow. We feel the pain by the citizens of Zambia. We're working to address the cost of living. Work together in this area. But patience, turning around the economy, which was leaking everywhere, is not done by the day. It's done over a period of time. Together, we shall overcome and create a lasting solution to these short-term issues which are damaging. I don't want to suggest to the people of Zambia that, yes, it's true, but it's not an excuse that the cost of fuel here has increased less than in other countries. It's a fact, but it's not a consolation. I've already said, let's work together. And we'll be reaching out to anyone else who has a suggestion and solution. That's the way it should be. We were elected to tackle a difficult country, a country that was damaged. We were elected to do just that. And we're working to do just that. We were elected to rebuild this economy so we can rebuild the social fabric. We're aware of it. We're elected to create jobs. The 40,000 plus jobs are not enough. Teaching and health workers. That's why we need to unlock the private sector. We're aware of it. We're elected to give hope to the citizens, including the youth and women. We're working to do just that. We know our mandate. We appreciate the decision of the people of Zambia to put us in office greatly because they could have elected somebody else. We appreciate that. We will not abuse that opportunity. And I want to call on my colleagues in cabinet, permanent secretaries, vice president, all of us. We're not on honeymoon. No. We were thrown by the people of Zambia, and we asked them to do that. At the deep end of the ocean, we have to swim. We have to work for the people. That's the common denominator. That's why we sit in cabinet together. That's why you're permanent secretary. The common denominator is to work for the people of Zambia. We are aware of the challenges. Yes, they're deeper. But I want to say to the people of Zambia, this government is better placed than the one that was there before, and maybe any other, to tackle the challenges that we are facing. Is better placed. in many respects. You want to try the lunar reverse again? It's your decision. And you will pay the price. You want more blood in the streets? It's your decision. You want a cabinet that has 2 regions only? It's your decision. We were brought a cabinet represented by all regions of this country. It's your decision. But we are humbled by your election. We work to bottom up this country's economy. What we have achieved in 8 days, we don't have to sing about it. Do a comparative analysis. 8 months, I said 8 days, 8 months. What we have achieved in 8 months is not for us to sing about. It's for you to do a benchmark. Look at the last 8 months of PF and look at the 8 months of UPND. Your answer lies in there. But we will not be complacent. We will not sit on our laurels, cabinet, PSs. Let's work for these people. Let's work even harder. This country, I have no doubt in my mind, in 5 years' time, will be a totally different place. Totally different place. But it requires hard work. It requires us to work on facts, not innuendos. It requires us to respect each other, not to call each other names. It requires us not to steal from the people. It's an opportunity to serve the people of Zambia. That's how I feel. A very rare one for that matter. And we take your criticism, we take your views. That's the way it should be. But you made the right decision. This place in 5 years will be a different place. Watch the space. You may not see what some of us are seeing, but you'll see it very soon. You're already seeing it. Last 8 months of PF, compare those 8 months with the last 8 months of UPND. You have your answer there. Ultimately, we do what is humanly possible, but we pray to God to give us more wisdom, to give us more energy to work for His people. You, the people of Zambia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for that elaborate and rather indulgent delivery. And I hope and trust that that has put to rest one of the questions which the Zambian people wanted answers to. And I hope that colleagues in the media have taken note. I therefore want to make an earnest request, colleagues, that if your question or area of concern has adequately been attended to by the President, let us as much as possible exercise restraint so that the President does not have to repeat himself. And therefore, those with questions, it is going to be strictly one question each, no consolidated or amalgamated questions, so that we can take as many questions as we would like. Let me also just indicate that we only have just about 30 minutes left on the clock before we can bring this session to a close. So we need to be incisive. We are going to proceed and descend into our question and answer session. We're going to take the first set of 3 questions. Let's get a good balance between our 2 genders, please, as those questions begin rolling in. I will begin on my right. Please come forward. State your name clearly and the organization that you are coming from. And over here, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. My name is Teresa Kalinga from CBC Television. And Mr. President, you have guided the nation and emphasized the need for citizens to avoid rumor mongering. How is the government tackling the issue of misinformation? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will move to my left. Oliver, please.
Sorry.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Oliver Tsega. I'm wearing two hats. I'm a freelance journalist, but today I'm representing the masses. The fourth estate is thankful, Mr. President, that you have retained order to the media. In the past, to get the front row seats was a dream, but look at the order that we see today. The media is greatly indebted. The people on the copper belts are wondering what strides this government has made to, quoting your words, unlocking Mopani and KCM. A couple of friends spoken to on the copper belt say, "Well, President Ingavaya is still for KCM and Mopani in Shvasover. People are in a hurry, apprehensive. Things have come to a standstill on the copper belt. I don't know whether you know that. What strides have you made? You touched about that, but they would like to know, to put their hearts at ease. What's happening?"
Thank you, Oliver. Sandra from the Sun newspaper, please. Sun FM, I beg your pardon.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Sandra.
My name is Sandra, I'm the representative Merchant TV. Mr. President, you did talk about wheat farming. My question is, the Ukraine war has had an impact on global food distribution. There is hunger in some parts of in some areas, and we all know that Ukraine is a contributor to wheat distribution globally. So is Zambia positioning itself to start exporting wheat at some point, because this war could affect us as a country?
Thank you, Sandra. I will make way for the President to tackle those three initial questions, Mr. President.
Thank you very much for the questions, and I'm very grateful to the media, truly grateful to the media for coming in large numbers, but also to acknowledge that it takes two to tango. We're very impressed with the media conduct, in as much as we may provide Oliver the platform, but also the media, I think, plays its role to make sure that we bring order back to our country. There's no question there was no order just 9 months ago. It's no question at all. But we are thankful to the media, and I hope that the media will take advantage of the self-regulation opportunity that we have offered. Take advantage of the self-regulation. It's a side issue I'm commenting on. Come forward. Make your specific move. Organize yourselves. Nature doesn't allow a vacuum. You are providing a vacuum now. You are creating a vacuum. An opportunity was made for you to organize yourself, to self-regulate. You have not concluded that. I'm encouraging you to burn your midnight candle as well as a meeting, so we can move together properly. Madam Kalen, how is the government tackling misinformation? I talked at length as what what falsehoods can do. It's not true that the falsehoods are driven by the media. They are driven by citizens. The media is truly just a platform. It's a medium. That's why you're called a media, isn't it? It's just a platform. So I think we must all work together to stem this issue. Let me take you to 6th January in 6th January 2021 in America. I think I'm right. 6th of January. They ran on the Capitol. The raid you saw in America, in the States, people attacking Washington, Parliament building, Congress, was driven by misinformation that they can take over a country where an election took place and somebody was elected president. And they were made to believe that they can overrun America. To date, the American system is still picking those who are misinforming citizens. It's part of my question, my answer to your question, Madam Karen. When you misinform citizens, you are breaking the law. You are offending the laws of this country. When the law enforcement picks you, don't complain, because you are breaking the law. That's the last measure to make citizens comply to the laws. You can't say the freedom of information allows you to tell falsehoods. No. In the HH household, as a micro and macro family, you're not allowed to tell lies. It's part of our values, not to tell lies. Even biblical, in a Christian country, you should not tell lies, because lies can kill. As Nakachinda said, I was calling judges at my house. He lied. It was a lie. But how is it that also the formal media is running the platforms and allowing lies to grow? We must check ourselves. This is self-regulation I'm asking for. That's it. Mwikale panshi, mulanshanye na imwe. Muntu alelepo obufi, ana maboza, but that's the lead story in the media. That shouldn't be the case. That's the second part of my answer to the question. First, illegality. Lies are illegal in our statutes. So the law enforcement will enforce that. And don't complain. Going forward, the law will be enforced. Because part of the rule of law. You can't have your cake and eat it. You can only have it because you haven't eaten it. If you eat it, the cake is gone. So you can't have your cake and eat it. You can't have your freedom and abuse your freedom. No, the law will stand in between to protect those that may be damaged by falsehoods. That's what we should be doing together, Bakalenga. But here is self-restraint. As citizens, we must be self-restraining. As the media, we must not propel lies. When we know it's a lie, let's run a retraction ourselves before someone complains. Thirdly, let's regulate ourselves. That's why I started off with that challenge. Let's regulate ourselves. There's a veteran journalist here seated in front of me. Let's consult him. Sorry, I'm exposing you, sir. We need elders. I hear every time the youth are important. Mkote. But would you have existed without Mkote parents? We are one society of Mkote people, of young people, of middle-aged people. Part of our African culture is to learn from our family members who have seen more moonlight than us. That would be my answer to that question. But I want to repeat, going forward, the law will be enforced. Oliver, measures to unlock KCM. I talked quite at length that in this public-private dialogue forum for development, we are putting KCM and Mopan as work streams. Are we together? We have already been doing a lot of measures. That's why you hear the noise on the liquidator of KCM, because you're sitting in the way of resolving the KCM problems. The rest I will not say much. But KCM, Mopani, Oliver, to unlock KCM Mopani. We believe Mopani were very close. I don't want to be over-ambitious. Part of my character is self-restraint. Part of my character is to say less and do more. That's how I was brought up. We are different in character. Some people make so much noise, but do very little. Somebody is praising themselves that those who don't build houses are fools. Me, I only spent $150,000 to build this house. Una pesa $150,000. You were a diehard just a few years ago. You are nothing. You couldn't even buy an economy ticket. The law is clear. You must account for your income. The law is very clear. Sindi na inapanga la mulo, na ipesa la mulo. Yote na ipesa. Noise is not equivalent to delivery. So, Oliver, we're very close on Mopani. It's an easier asset. I use the word asset delivery to unlock. So we're getting there. And I think soon we'll hear the progress we've made. KCM is a bit complicated. It was made complicated by appointing a liquidator who should have never been there in the first place. So we're trying to remove that challenge, that constraint, so that we can now have a commercial solution to KCM. I have seen the media allegations, again, falsehoods, that we want to give KCM back to the country. I'm sure you've seen it. That's not true. We want to unlock KCM. It's a Zambian asset. And nothing should stand in the way, so that the people of the Copper Belt and the people of Zambia, remember, it's not just the Copper Belt. When KCM is unlocked, it benefits the Copper Belt, it benefits our citizens, it benefits suppliers, it benefits revenue, it benefits foreign exchange income. We have an asset which is being abused there. And we are determined, let me say it here, Oliver. Thank you for asking that question. We are determined to do what it takes to bring that asset back into production. And we will do what it takes. No innuendo, no abuse of court process. We will slow us down. Let me add what you have not asked. We are putting first quantum in there, in the work stream, because we have to unlock the $1.5 billion investment in there. Sorry. We have to unlock Kassenseli. Let me take advantage of your question. We have to unlock Kassenseli. We will not allow illegal mining to take place in this country, because we may become like a neighboring country where one province or two, you can't even enter there. You get shot dead because of illegal mining and mafia operations. When people die in Mumba, the state should not allow that. It was a mistake. I want to admit, this government made a mistake. UPND government made a mistake to allow illegal mining to continue in Mumba until people die. I accept that mistake on behalf of the government. We should not encourage that to happen anymore. Get your license. That's why we have shut the licensing office cadastra at mines to reorganize it through you for the people of Zambia, so that licenses are given to Zambian citizens. We said so in the campaign. Take the opportunity to get a license and be a legal miner. That's why the Black Mountain, we've issued licenses there. That's what we committed in the opposition. No one talks about that. You don't have to sing the song, but see the actions. Yes, there are teething issues there. They were always going to be there. But the issue is to legalize mining at the Black Mountain and mining in a safe way. We don't want people to die. This president is there to protect lives, not to take lives. Citizens were killed 9-10 months ago. We don't want that to happen under our watch. So, Kasenseri Olma, Black Mountain, so many mining assets that have been sitting underutilized. We want to bring them into utilization, create the jobs and the income, take advantage of the electric vehicle industry. This is our opportunity this week. I hope cabinet are not, because I've been away for some time. President Tshisekedi is coming here. Am I right? Welcome. Am I right? You saw me going to Congo several times, Oli. One opposition leader says, HH is going to Congo, there's nothing in Congo. I said, Ankala Kuchu. Ankala Kuchu. What we were trekking to Congo for is now maturing. The president is coming here, visiting us, and we're signing agreements to exploit our common resource endowment, to take advantage of the electric vehicle industry arising from climate change, Oliver, so we can earn more money on our electrical vehicle metals. What are they? Copper, cobalt, manganese. Manganese now is a valuable mineral. We want citizens to benefit from manganese. Not illegal mining, not killing our people. Nickel. Of course, the list goes on. There are only 14 countries in the world, Oliver, just to share information, meaning 14 countries in the world that host electric vehicle metals, minerals. 14 countries. 5, 10, 14. Of these 14, 7 are on the African continent. Of these 7 on the African continent, the top 2 is Congo and Zambia. You heard me? And we are working strategically. That's why we're working with Congo. The 2 of us lead the resource endowment on these minerals. And we want to maximize the value that the country gets for the people of Zambia. I have extended the answer to your question. We're not sitting. A few days' time, we're signing. Black and white, signatures. And we're on the move. The rest you hear. I admit, maybe we're not giving you enough information. Going forward, we should give the people of Zambia more information on what we're doing. Sandra, Ukraine war, distortions in the wheat supply chain in the world, you are right. I'm very impressed with your knowledge, man. Many citizens are not aware of what you just said. But it's not just wheat, man. It's potatoes. It's fuel. It is natural gas. It's so many things. What we're doing in Zambia, Sandra, strategically, I've just talked about the Congo-Zambia relationship. Strategically, we have taken a view as a new government that it's not a mistake for us to be located the way we are located. We don't want to hear of Zambians complaining about us being landlocked. Still complaints that we are landlocked. No, we are land linked. We're a special country. 8 + 1 neighbor, 9. Because Burundi is complaining. Because we share a border through Lake Tanganyika. We are working to be the production center, which included. That's why I talked about irrigation, you heard me. I'm sure that's what drove your question. We don't want water rights for irrigation because we have the land, we have the climate, we have the soils, good soils, not just land, good soils. We have the water. We want to take advantage to feed, to produce wheat, to produce maize, to produce cotton, to produce agricultural trees. You will see in the work stream, again, Oliver, we're placing avocado there, we're placing agricultural trees as work streams in this PPDD program. So we can maximize benefits, feed ourselves, feed the region, Sandra, and export to the globe. Production center, processing center, packaging center, distribution center, export center. Great news. Within a crisis, there's a ray of opportunity. That's how I was brought up myself. Small window. I want to go through that small window of opportunity. This country must learn a few things. Instead of demonizing each other, we must learn the different cultural aspects we bring together as a country. It's God's gift. Opportunity, hard work, work, and more work. There's a great opportunity for us to raise capital, cheaper capital, to invest in our agricultural sector and be part of the supply chain, not only for wheat, but for others. But it won't happen if it takes 8 months to give water rights. Wama will be sitting at the same table, Frank, with the irrigation, small, micro irrigators, small, medium, large irrigators. Why do you call us to be a country with 35% of water, fresh water in Southern Africa? Why are we proud of one? We're not using the water. Let's utilize the water. Sandra, the question is very important. We're in a hurry to do that. But if you send wrong messages that we are favoring a few friends who are irrigators, colleagues, if I irrigate, encourage me to irrigate more, so we can sell more wheat. We can stabilize the wheat prices. I think this is the growing up that the country needs, to work from the negative frame of mind instead of a positive frame of mind. Please come on. We always said, what's the problem? Mindset. 10 years of damage. What was abnormal became normal. What we're trying to normalize now is abnormal to the people. Please come on. It changed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We shall take the last set of 3 questions, Mr. President, because, and I know that is at a risk of being exceedingly unpopular. I understand Mr. President has received quite a lot of questions from ordinary citizens and other quarters of stakeholders. So we also need to make way for the President to take the deputies, perhaps to respond to those questions as well. So I'm going to take the last set of 3. Jonah from Diamond. Please let's be concise and stress the point. 1 question each. Then the lady closest to me as well.
Thank you. My name is Dininda Jonah from Diamond TV. Mr. President, I would like to draw you back to a few months ago, and this is because of an audio that was published suggesting that 2 members of your team were conniving to undermine the democracy of the country. And this audio sparked the long-standing debate around the Cybersecurity and Cybercrimes Act. So my question is, from where you're standing, as has been on record, what is your position with regards to this law in Zambia as a government and as a political party as well? But also, what is your position with the 2 that are accused to have been in this audio, and what conclusion have you made?
Thank you, John. The lady.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. My name is Priska Lumingo from Millennium Radio. Mr. President, when you were talking about the high cost of living, if I got you clearly, you stated that the government has started engaging other countries on the issues of fuel and fertilizer to cushion the high cost of living. But my question is, what short-term homegrown measures is the government putting in place to address the daily challenges the Zambian people are facing? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wells.
Excellence, good morning. My name is Wells Munda from Spring TV. My question has been overtaken, but I will get to the next question. The JPP, Excellency, the JPP, UPND got us calling for the removal of the current JPP.
All right, thank you.
So the UPND supporters and cadres are calling for the removal of the DPP. I wanted to get your stance regarding that. Thank you.
Mr. President.
How to quick answer so you can allow a few more, madam. Isn't it? Ah, hear the female voices, eh? Hear them, right? Right. Let me be specific and short here. Jonah, the audio from the two. I think, again, I talked about the rule of law. Jonah, in India. The rule of law is what we should use, is to apply the rule of law. It's not to be draconian. It's to be sober about these issues. It's to use the rule of law. Let's apply the rule of law. When you raise a complaint, you should be free. The toll lines are coming, do that, or anyone else. I think that's the thing to do. Do not be draconian about these issues, because I know the pain of draconian behavior myself. I'm the victim of draconian behavior, together with others. Some lost their lives, like Lawrence Band. So let's use the rule of law. The actual act now said cyber security. What is my view? I think earlier we were talking about falsehoods, isn't it? Falsehoods may be in a print media, they may be on social media, cyber. They are falsehoods. What we're doing around this law is to look at the excesses. Because remember, this law was passed just before elections, eh? And it was meant to target people like myself. I know that. But you see what happens. So one needs to be clever. Eh? You set up a trap for HS. You walk in it yourself. This was set as a trap against someone else. What we should do as a country is to look at the excesses around this law. When we have consensus on those excesses, we amend the law. But the aspects that will curtail lying, whether it's on social media, electronic media, or whatever, it's lying, we must curtail it. That's my answer, John. Call me after the press conference, we will talk more. I have a few more things to say around this issue. Repeat, lying is lying by any means. It must be stopped. It's illegal. It can inflame a country. I can tell you what Nakashinda is trying to do. Nakashinda wants to pitch one section of Zambians against another. That's what he wants to do. That's what he wants to do. But we should not allow him to do that. We shouldn't. If we fall in his trap, then we are like him. I'm not like him. You should not be like him. That's what he's trying to do. They did it before the elections. Oh, a Tonga will never rule. It's not a Tonga we want. It's a citizen we want who will work for the people of Zambia. Now, what he wants is people to rise up. I've listened to an audio. Someone called Nakashinda. And this guy says, I'm from Wemo. Why are you insulting us from Wemo? Now, I'm sure you can read what is going on in the minds of people. One day they will find him and attack him. We should not allow that to happen. Those who are injured, calm down. He's a lunatic trying to destroy a country. This is a lunatic. We are bigger than that. So, Jonah, let's talk away from the press conference. Krista, pure fertilizer, yes, we're working on that. I think I indicated that, Krista. Short-term measure. What are we doing? Part of what we're doing, Krista, is what I talked about. I know you can't touch it, you can't see it. It's an intangible, but it's a valuable intangible. Intangible means you can't touch it, you can't see it. By fighting inflation. Priska, what's inflation? It's the cost of living. The increase in the general price level is called inflation. Where is this? Thank you. I'm trying to get an eye contact with you, but that gentleman is blocking. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. The measures we're taking is not what we're doing today. It's what we started doing as we took office, is to slow down the increase in the general price level. That's the simple meaning of inflation. The increase in the general price level. That's what we brought down from 24% to 13%. Numbers don't lie. I've always said to Zambians, we should love numbers. If there's a subject you should love, and I loved it myself, it's numbers, because they don't lie. This is an immediate action. And because of the measures fiscally put in place, we're able to slow down the general increase in the price level. That's the meaning of inflation. In simple terms, layman's language. From our trade language, we define it slightly deeper than that. That's an immediate measure, number one. Number two, my dear friend, please. That is why we made a decision in our very first budget to offer free education, so that the pressure parents were having to pay for school children's fees can be alleviated from them. And the government then subsidizes education. That's the meaning of free education. It's a subsidy. I've heard another opposition leader saying, this UPND party does not believe in subsidies. Free education is a subsidy to the citizens, so that education, which is what we need most to develop a country, is available to students even when parents are stressed. I passed through my village school, and I don't know my media guys if they showed it. I didn't even take a holiday because there were thousands, hundreds of people there. 05 in the morning, they were arriving at the farm. What are those people? What do they want? They said, "Mwanangu wagainde, ndabola urumba for free education." I'll put it in English. If I speak Nyanja, nobody complains. I speak Bemba, no one complains. I speak Lozi, people complain. I speak Tonga, people complain. What's the problem? A skewed mind. It's a skewed mind. Created through hatred. Years of hatred. Yet we share bedrooms together. Just the language becomes a source of hatred. It's a gift from God. We're a Christian country. I am saying multitudes of people were coming, 05 in the morning, old women, grandmothers. And I asked the question, can I help? We've just come to greet you, our son, and to thank you for giving us free education. Now our grandchildren are in school. We don't have to sell our chickens. We don't have to sell our goats. We don't have to sell our cows. The dreaded cows in the minds of one Chilango. That's how I grew up myself, earned money from selling cows. I still do it. It's good business. I want to encourage the youth to go farming. I want to help you to raise cattle. It's good thing. Good business. You don't have to steal from anyone. So, free education, Priska, is to address the cost of living, to take away the cost of school fees from families. Then the money that they are left with, they can use it on food. They can use it on other things. What else? CDF is a decision we made deliberate to give the youth and the women some social support. It's another subsidy. It's just called by a different name. Immediate measures is to lessen the pain that we as citizens are going through. CDF in there sits women fund, youth funds, grants. Grant is money you don't have to pay back. But we've also put soft loans in there so that a youth who wants to be better than Hagainde. I was very impressed when the media posted the stories of us checking a little, just small numbers of cattle. Small numbers. And many youth said, HH, we also do what you're doing. Tizakuchila manje manje. That yeah, wabwera bwino. I love that sort of thinking, thought processes. It's to allow a youth, anyone to borrow on a soft loan, very small percent. The Minister of Local Government gave the figures of percentage of loan interest so that they can buy 2 cows, 5 cows. And in 5 years, I'll tell you the numbers, they will have 50 cows in 5 years only. And their asset will be worth a few millions of what? That's how it works. But we're putting that seed in them now to access a loan. They don't have to raise cattle. They can raise goats, they can raise chickens, they can buy a brick making machine under CDF or schools, Priska, or clinics. Contracts will go to local contractors. And all purchases of materials such as bricks will be bought from the constituencies or the districts in there. Very smart. I know people are not paying attention. Watch that space in 5 years' time. Watch that space. See how the rural communities and urban, peri-urban communities will develop. Just watch that space. I know you don't see it, it's too early, but after 2 or 3 years, you'll see it. That's vision. Now, in school being built, you have to buy the blocks, the bricks from the local constituent. What we are doing now under CDF is for the youth or the women or anyone to borrow 20,000 kwacha, 30,000 kwacha to buy a brick making machine. And then we'll buy all the bricks to build clinics and schools and teachers' houses and nurses from that constituency. Very smart. Very smart. So a youth, a woman, a citizen can borrow. That's a subsidy. And we'll buy the blocks. And tomorrow, a year later, there'll be a different individual. You can't see it now. You'll see it very soon. A seed is put in the ground, Priska. You have to wait for it to germinate. You have to water it. Patience. You have to harvest. And when you harvest, don't do ubomba muibala. Don't do that. Bad habits. Bad. Don't eat the pumpkin leaves. Allow the pumpkin to produce pumpkin. Allow the pumpkin plant to produce pumpkin. Don't eat all the leaves. If you eat chihuahua, you will have no pumpkin, you will have no seed. You won't plant more pumpkins next season. That's the culture we want to change in this country. Like it or you don't like it. That's how you create wealth. You like it or you don't. You have no other way out. That's the only way. So we're putting that seed, that grant, so that the youth, the women can now mold bricks. We give them a loan. Then they will repay the loan back by buying the bricks from them through CDF regulations, guidance. Lastly, there are many other measures, Priska, by the way. I don't want to bore you. Oscar Chapula, is he here? Oscar is not here. What FM? There's nobody from What FM. Go and tell Oscar I'm being mischievous. I'm available for a 2-hour radio program. On his radio, on your radio, Hot FM. I promised during the opposition, I promised 2 radio stations, Phoenix and Hot FM. I did it with Phoenix. I'm ready for Hot FM. So we can interact more with people across the country. I'm available, even tomorrow. Planet. Kunda, DPP, UPND cadres are calling for a remove. First, I commented on this issue at length earlier. No one has a legal right to offer immunity to anybody. Not the DPP. She has no right. She has no legal right. Let's not sketch the issue here. She hasn't got. Let's not abuse judicial processes here. She has no right. There's no one in State House who has any legal power to offer immunity to anyone. I said it. I'm reinforcing the point here. I don't like kidding around myself. I don't kid around. Sometimes study the leaders you've chosen. Go back and look at this fellow called angels. I don't play around myself. I may not make much noise, because in this country, noise is supposed to be equivalent to ability. No. Most noise teams are empty teams. No one can confer protection against corruption to anybody. Not the DPP. No. What should happen is that the law is clear here. If the DPP has transgressed her rights, the institutions, the framers of the institutions were very clear. You complain to the Judicial Complaints Commission. And I think people have done that already. If not, more will be doing that. That's a law. And then from there, it will take its own course. What a UPND cadre says is what any Zambians can say. Remember, those UPND cadres are citizens. There are people already warning the UPND, don't touch the DPP. You haven't heard that? There are people saying that. So that talk is equalized by the UPND cadres if it's true. So there's talk negative, there's talk positive, but our duty is not to listen to those who are saying don't touch the DPP. No one is going to touch the DPP. Only the law will touch the DPP. The law you put in place. Those people, whether it's civil society or it's anyone who is a relative of the DPP, it does not matter what you feel. It does not matter what the UPND members feel. They're citizens of them. They're freedom of speech. But what matters to us is to follow the law. Kunda, anyone aggrieved about the conduct of the DPP is to complain to the Judicial Complaints Commission. I'm sure many Zambians are going to do that. Because what we've seen in the last 30 days is unacceptable. It's not correct. The DPP has no power to arrest. The DPP has the power to prosecute. That's a separation of powers. How can she stop people from arresting others? DEC has a right to arrest. So is ACC. So are the police. She has no power over the police. And the DPP cannot tell the DEC, don't arrest Miringo. The DEC can arrest Miringo if they feel Miringo has broken the law. They can arrest Miringo 20 times if he has broken the law 20 times. And I encourage them to do so. DPP has no right. Who is she? Where has she drawn her powers from? She doesn't have those powers. She wrote a letter for Mary Chirwa not to arrest me. That is wrong. Someone must complain. I'm encouraging Zambians to complain to the Judicial Complaints Commission. That's not victimization. Then she offers immunity to me. That's wrong. Another complaint must go to the Judicial Complaints Commission. And then the law takes its course. God help her. God help us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will be really, really unpopular and take the last set of 3 questions. Ambassador Mtumila, Wolande from Degas, and the lady.
Question I missed, Andrew?
No, sir.
I didn't ask?
No, sir. Wolande, and the lady.
Your Excellency, good afternoon. Thank you very much for the kind words you've said about me. Your Excellency, your office is the busiest on the land. What is your justification for taking up the chairmanship of IDC? In saying so, what plans does IDC have to increase its stake in the emerald mines and gold mines in order to increase the financial returns for this country? Because from what I know, there's so much money from Emirates, and if we increase our returns, it could go far in alleviating some of the economic problems the country has. In relation to that, Your Excellency, there's a story attributed to President Kagame saying the leaders that give concessions, tax holidays to investors who come to mine minerals in Africa are not serious, they are not real. Use stronger words than that, Your Excellency. And finally, in thanking you, Your Excellency, for this useful press conference, in my 52 years of media, this is the first time I'm having problems accessing some of your ministers. It's very difficult to get hold of some of your ministers to disseminate useful information. Perhaps you need to give a directive that the ministers are accessible, especially to the media. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador.
He's very clever. He's asked more questions. Maybe age allows him.
Absolutely.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Mr. President,
Your name, madam, and the organization where you coming from?
at no time had you held a meeting with the former liquidator for Konkola Compromise. But some of the officials from your office have been mentioned, have been instituted any investigations to check if at all that information is true or not. And if it is found that that information is true, is there going to be any action against these officials?
Thank you. Randy?
Good afternoon, President. My name is Unani Nkomesha from News Diggers. Yes, my question. Against another part of the debate, which is in the midst of the commission.
Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Frank asked a lot more questions. Asked a lot more questions. Asked a lot more questions than one, but he's an experienced one in these things. But it's good to ask the questions. Number one, President is busy. Why IDC chair? I found it, Frank. I didn't create it. This is another issue, Frank. But people make issues out of no issues. You didn't question those who created those corporate arrangements. No one questioned the previous president why he was chairman of IDC. I never had anyone question him. HH is a different animal. He comes in, he must be exercised. That prejudices. I know. Prejudices. Not good for a country. I found that situation. You should ask me if I agree with it or not. I'll tell you in private my views. But I found it. In as much as I found the Cybersecurity Act, which I objected against. You ask me my views, I'll tell you in private. Just as I found a constitutional provision for by-elections, Frank, you know my views. I don't agree with by-elections. They waste money. But when I say that, it's, oh, he's draconian. He wants to run away from by-elections, he will lose. Western, we won. Southern, we won. Northern, we won. The opposition votes put together in Northern, where we had never won that seat. They don't match the UPND votes. We beat them to power. So it's not fear of losing. It is a principle that we're wasting money on by-elections. We need money to create jobs. We need money to send our children to school. Olive. That's my view. But others are saying, I want to hide behind my view of background. Like, I'm afraid of losing. Losing to who? Numbers don't lie. So I guess those who want double standards must examine themselves. I have an opinion about that. Presidency is busy. But you and I will talk off the line. I found a lot of things I don't agree with. But as a person who respects the law, no, you can't do that. And someone sees a window of opportunity and abuses their position to stand in the way of the fight against corruption. I fold my arms.
Thank you very much for having joined us on this broadcast. It was great, and we will give our reaction to issues at a later stage. Have a good afternoon, and we'll see you later. Elias Moshe here on TV Bagwetu. Good night.